Queer-Centric is a platform for voices in the margins. It's a place where we can talk about anything because the art of conversation is missing, and I want it to be a place where we sit down and we talk about important subjects that affect all of us that are in the community. And it just so happens to be I'm a big old weirdo. I just want to do it all because here's the big secret that everybody knows and no one really talks about. You live one time. And I don't care if you're 20 or 112. If you want to do something, do it. Because it's never going to be a better time than right now. Hello, my favorite queerdos. I love every time you decide to join me on this show. Today's a fun day because you have someone as loud as I am, which is, I like to say, he has a huge personality and an even bigger voice. He's worked with the likes of Patti LaBelle, Trisha Yearwood, or one of my favorite divas of all time, Reba McEntire. He's also headlined showrooms in Vegas. And most recently, he was heralded as one of Seattle's entertainers of the year. He has a new single coming out called I Rise that gives us an amazing, powerful new anthem for all of us queerdos out here on this very amazing Pride Month. And so now to tell us all about it is Michael Cagle. Cagle. And the crowd goes wild and fire starts. It's very crazy.
Oh, the crowd goes mild. Oh, wait.
Yeah. No, that's my crowd for sure.
Okay,
I want to start off by saying we met, we won't say how many years ago. We met, I was down at Tri-Cities Pride. We shared a stage. And then this is my first memory of you. You did, I believe, Circle of Life from Lion King. And the first thing that hits you is this man can belt. He's a belter. In the old Broadway. I mean, it's so huge. And you owned your stage. Obviously, I know your backstory and stuff, so I know how you learned to own your own stage. But can we talk about we mentioned Vegas in the intro. Mm-hmm. Where did your compass go and find you, rocking the world in Seattle?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. So I'm glad we have a half hour.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. I basically, started, I got into theater very, very early. And then, got reconnected with theater, in high school, and it literally saved my life. If I hadn't, I was about to end myself. So, so I got very active into theater and really had a strong desire to sing. Both my parents were semi-professional singers in New York. And so I grew up around that. And then, but I wasn't really, really good, but I knew how to perform on stage, and I had a lot of theater, and I just had a lot of drive. Fast forward a while, going to college, got some degrees in theater and performance, and somebody saw me doing just a one-off show somewhere. And then I got a call, and somebody said, "I saw your show. I want to bring you down to Las Vegas, and I want to handle some of your shows and book you." And so in 2001, my then partner and our English bulldog packed into a motorhome and drove to Las Vegas on the thought of, okay, here we go. This is what I've worked for. So spent some time in Las Vegas. That story is terrible because I did about 5 weeks worth of work and the guy never paid me and stiffed me completely. And so we were stuck in Las Vegas in a motorhome in spring of 2001 with our bulldog. And I had to learn to make money by singing without really being known in Vegas. And it was it was an amazing ride. I just happened to be at the right time at the right place, and um, then I went from there, and we can get into Las Vegas more if you want, but from there, um, Vegas changed drastically, and it didn't become a place for entertainers anymore. The days of going to see Frank and all the
Right.
the big names, corporations came in and they're like, we're all about the bottom line. We're going to bring in a Cirque show. We're going to bring in this. And we just don't care about uh, bringing in entertainment. So left there, moved to Nashville, spent about 18 months, 2 years in, and I loved the city, but the politics was just terrible. And it was
Yeah.
really hard to make friends because of that. I And this was before Trump. This is,
Yeah.
it was just the political divide even back then was so different, and I was just like, I just felt terrible. Um,
Yeah.
and I did meet some nice people. Not everybody in Nashville, because like I said,
Right.
Nashville's a beautiful,
Yes,
beautiful
very.
city. It's a gorgeous
Yeah.
state. They're just so backwards. So we said we got to move, and I'm a coast person. I was born in New York, and Jason, my husband, loves um, loves Washington. And he said, "Well, why don't we try to move to Seattle?" I wanted to move
Yeah.
back to New York. It was so expensive. Then we moved to Seattle, which is still so expensive.
I was gonna say,
Um,
yeah.
Not much of a change, but um, moved here in Seattle in 2013, and still perform, but got into uh, doing something I hadn't done, which was really pursuing a record label and
Right.
getting original music out. I had spent my entire life performing, doing covers and Broadway shows and musicals, and loving it, and finding different ways to make the songs my own. That I finally decided, why not get creative and make my own. And
Right.
so that's kind of me in a quick little
Right.
nutshell.
Well, and did you find, because as we both know, it's an interesting business at times. Did you find, I found this in LA when I was in LA. And I wonder if maybe Nashville was your same experience, which is, as much as I love an industry town, those industry cities where big things happen, at the same time, uh, and this is like a different form of politics, but people are not necessarily, because you're all out there to get your own, right? So where I'm a collaborator, I love collaborating. That
Right.
wasn't for me. That wasn't the LA experience. Love LA. That's great. I met some wonderful people, but because it was an industry town, I feel like it made it harder. Do you have that same experience?
Well, yeah, it was Nashville was cool for me because everybody was individual.
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't really want an impersonator. They didn't want to see,
Right.
like Vegas was, do you do Elton? Do you do Billy Joel? Do you
Yeah.
do Boy George? Do you do drag?
Right.
That's kind of where their mentality was. Nashville was about, no, we want original. We want people
Yeah.
to find out who they are as artists. And I
Right.
kind of knew, but I had never really put pen to paper and really focused that way.
Yeah.
um, and Nashville is a songwriter's
Very much.
staple.
Yeah.
And it's coffee houses and guitars, and
Yeah.
I'm not coffee house or guitar because
Right.
I'm just not built that way.
Yeah.
And so it was hard to because I love collaborating too. I really really love that ability to take somebody else's idea and meld it with mine and see what we can come up with.
Yeah.
But when people saw me, they're like, "Why you're a different animal," And
Yeah.
so it was good in one way, but it just wasn't a good fit because I didn't want to. I'm not a coffee house singer, and I'm not knocking.
Right.
Please know
No,
that
not
I'm
at
not.
all.
But but
Yeah.
their
But they
priority
have to be
was
willing to, yeah, they have to be willing to let you tear down the walls though, because you are
the,
not, you can do it all and you are already your own entity and your own,
well, yeah,
so it's harder.
I felt like I knew myself as an artist, and what I was seeing was the songwriting that I was hearing wasn't conducive to what I did. What was in
Right.
my head was, but then I was like, how do I play this stuff? Because and again, I love someone that can sit with a guitar and tell a story
Right.
and
Yeah.
great vocals there. But my stuff is so dramatic and there's key changes and I
Right.
hear all this sound coming, and how do you do that there when
Yeah.
because if I put music on a disc, you know nobody wanted that because they're like, oh, that's karaoke. No, it's my music. No, we don't want
Exactly.
you singing to. Okay, but I can't bring
Yeah.
in an eight-piece band,
Right.
for open
Yeah.
mic night. So it was
Exactly.
it was kind of one of those situations where I was grateful because I have always been very original in my approach, even if I was doing a cover, but it made me understand that to really do what I want to do, I needed to pursue songwriting. And I had wrote musicals,
Right.
so and I some of them had been done. I've written four musicals and three of them were actually done. And that's cool, but obviously they're not commercial kind of things. So
Right.
jumping in and saying, how can I make something commercial that still feels like
Yeah.
me? And so
But
that part of Nashville was good.
you, I think, nailed it on the head. So people ask me all the time, especially young ones, when they know I've been to LA, I lived there for a little bit, and they always want to go, "What's it like?" And I want to go, and I always tell them, "Know who you are first." And when you go down there, everybody's going to tell you that you should be a replica of this, this, and this. But in the end, they're only going to celebrate you when you are you. So don't get seduced by the you need to be what other people are. If you are you, that is what's going to take you there. And I
I
think,
you know I agree. No,
you had to learn it.
I wholeheartedly agree. Vegas was real. I loved Vegas. Every place that I've gone to has given me something to glean from.
Right.
And Vegas to me was I couldn't put a price tag or on what I gained from there. Stage experience, how to work the crowd
Right.
effectively,
Exactly.
how
Yeah.
to do a 90-minute show 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
That's
But
everybody
see,
wants to do that until you get it.
yeah.
And then you're like, by the fifth day, you're like,
Yeah.
and how do I
I
keep things
think
fresh?
I think you and I are brothers from different mothers. In that, I don't know if life just has made us have to adapt, but I think of every place I've been, I learned something that I need to use, right? It is their teaching, which is what you did. I have to say, one of my favorite quotes is that Fox Television once said, "You're like Patti LaBelle meets Nathan Lane." And do you know, until I read that, I was like, oh, that's perfect. I didn't even cross my mind. That's perfect. What did you think when you first heard that about yourself?
Okay, it was a shock. I because um Patty LaBelle to me is just like one of the ultimates. When you talk about owning the stage, vocal ability, making everything fresh. You could see her show, and she always sings the same song differently. There's always what she brings to the stage. And then, of course, you got Nathan Lane, who is just smart, savvy,
Yeah.
musically brilliant, sense of timing, you know, and
Yeah.
both of these people have so much charisma, you
Yeah.
know. And so, to when I heard that, I was, first of all, I'm like, I was really floored because um, I really I did a show, not at the, oh, I can't remember, they torn down so many casinos, um
Right.
and it I didn't really think anybody was in the audience, you know, that was important. I know that's terrible, um which is why you should always give 100%, because you just don't know who's
Yes.
going to stumble in.
Yes. Yep.
And uh they were there, and I found out that um, the event was actually bigger than what it was supposed to be. They were actually doing a citywide talent show for people to possibly headline and join Legends in concert. So
Nice.
they were looking for, and of course I'm not, you know, I just came and did me, and
Yeah.
they invited me as the MC, so I hosted. And I think that's where they kind of got the Nathan Lane thing, because I was both singing throughout the thing, as myself, and
Right.
then hosting. And so, but I had no clue. And when they did the review, you know, when Fox did the review, um, that's the quote they came up with. And um, the Las Vegas Sun picked up on it, and then they said, you know, that that's gonna be your moniker for life. And I'm like, I own it. I'm glad.
Yes. And
I will
that's the
totally take
moniker
that.
you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
I couldn't have asked for anything. It was, like you said, it was perfect. You know,
Yeah.
not that I
Yeah.
can
Oh,
sing
I
as good
love
as
it.
Patti LaBelle or anything, but it's
Oh,
just in what we do and how I come across, I guess. It was perfect. So yeah, that will forever. It went on my business cards. It's on my website.
yeah. It's also the most, it was so accurate. So you've taken all these experiences in your life and you already are, I think you were born just a performer and
Yes.
a, you know what I mean? It was just in you. But you've taken all of these things in your life, and I think all of our moments bring us to where we are in this moment. And so I do want to talk about your newest single, I Rise. And before we get to the craziness of getting it released and done, I want to talk about what was your inspiration and what were you wanting to say with this?
Oh wow. I'm just going to be on. I'm a super political person. Just because my lifestyle alone dictates that I can't be silent. Um, and my friends that I care about dictate that I can't be silent. I need to do something. And, you know, I'm too old to join the army. And, you know, so I wanted to take the skills that I had and put down what I was feeling, what I was not just feeling for myself, but feeling for everybody else that I knew as well, and not just the people in the LGBTQ, you know,
Right.
family. You know, we're talking about women's rights, minorities' rights. You know, anybody that wasn't, you know, that isn't white and straight and, you know, Republican or a
Yeah.
churchgoer. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, those people are being marginalized as something other. And so that, to me, was the starter of why I wrote the song. Okay.
Yeah.
And I felt like I knew I wanted to make an anthem. I knew I wanted it to be personal so that I could express how I felt, but I also made it where other people could sing it and feel the same kind of thing, because I think the lyrics talk to everything that's going on. And, it doesn't beat anybody over the head, but there are really strong references and strong lyrics to
Yeah.
that say, this is the situation that we're in. This is where
Yeah.
they're trying to you know, put us or put me, and I'm not gonna sit
Yeah.
down. I'm gonna stand up for
Yeah.
myself, and so
I
go ahead.
I think it also speaks what the great thing about a well-crafted anthem is it's not only about the queer community, it is about reaching into people who maybe aren't feeling
Yeah.
100 and giving them something to go, talk about the phoenix rising from the ashes and these things that go beyond our queerness and go into and I know we all knew it was going to be crazy. Like, I can't even believe it hasn't been 15 years since Trump's been in office. It's only not even been 6 months, or we're at 6 months. But what is fascinating to me is we had no idea that No Kings protests were going to happen, or that Pride would lose in so many cities, lose so much money from backing of corporate sponsors.
I
So
Yeah.
yeah, it makes I Rise even more powerful than it was already going to be. You know what I mean? Did it
I I
ever cross your mind?
I wanted it. I Whenever you write a song, and especially when you record, you want to, of course, you want to stand out. That's why you're doing it. You want to
Yeah.
either get your name known or your voice out there. But for me, this was beyond that. This to me was a message that needed to be said. And you know I'm one of those people that is pretty transparent. I say what's on my mind, and there's unfortunately very little filter. So it's like when I'm in that mode, and I'm angry. I'm angry and I'm saddened, and I've never seen so much hate towards Pride Month. Like, hate. Like, I get, there was always, oh, you guys are, come to
Right.
Jesus and yeah, rah, 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 rah,
Yeah.
rah, 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 rah. Okay,
Yeah.
we get it. Okay, we get it. But the vitriol, and I think it comes from the fact that when you strip away everything about Donald Trump and where we're at right now,
Yeah.
he is a master of cruelty.
Yeah.
Everything that he does is based off of being cruel. Who can he attack? Who can he
Yeah.
belittle? Who can he villainize? Who can he marginalize? And so that cruelty really offends me because
Right.
he's supposed to be the president for everybody, and he really has become a niche. He has
Yeah.
become
Yeah.
he's a cult leader.
Yeah.
And that's he is. And the people that follow him, if you're still following him, you are in a cult, because you
Yeah.
can't pick and choose this,
Yeah.
because he has defined lines that
Yeah.
because he didn't do what he said he was going to do when he got in office. He went and did his own agenda, and it was an
Yeah.
agenda of cruelty. And
Yeah.
so for me, this song is so important, not because I'm singing it, it's
Yeah.
because it's it is a song for this time. It is,
Yeah.
and that's what an anthem is. It's something. It's a cry. It's a
Yeah.
for us something
Well,
to join together and
it
cry.
also hits all of the things for me. Talk about no filter. I'm just going to say it. I love a good anthem that to me feels like a fuck you anthem. I feel so empowered and I don't apologize that I feel like it's screaming right in the faces of the people we want to scream
Right.
at. And so it's all about love and rising up and it's a little bit about fuck you. And that's the dream.
Oh God, I
Now,
can say the fuck word. I've been on my
yes.
best behavior.
It's why I got off doing radio because I was tired of the FCC worried about it, and I just
Yeah,
want to say what I want.
I,
But one of
I'm
the
so
things,
happy about that. Yeah, I've been on my best behavior for you.
right? No, we can do the fuck you. And then, so I know it was a journey shopping the single because you had it at your original record label, and things didn't go. Why was it so hard to get this
Okay,
out?
I was with, uh, 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 I'll just be honest, World Movement Records. They're in Redondo,
Yeah.
California, and um, they had pushed for uh, some more new music from me, and because I had done 3 holiday songs with them, one that I had
Right.
written, and they did well, but they wanted original music. Is like, let's get going, let's do this, and so I sat down and wrote most of the songs within a 7 or 8 month period. And um, this song I knew when I was doing it, when I wanted it out, I knew the target audience. I knew, in my head what I needed to do to make it work.
Yeah.
And they asked for my new music, and I sent them 4 of my songs, and they liked it. And I said, well, this is what I want to do. And I said, and one of them was, this song has to be released for June. I want this to be an anthem. I want this to be. They refused. Absolutely
But why?
refused. We like the song, but no, we're not going to be seen as someone that is choosing sides. And I said, excuse me? Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we don't want to be, we're for everybody and rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, you know what? I said I disagree, and this is my
Yeah.
song. And they're
Yeah.
like, but that, it's our money that we're putting into it, and so that's going to be, we're going to. And I said, absolutely not. This
Yeah.
is my material. If you don't release it, I will. And then I'll give you a fuck you to you for saying that.
Yeah.
But as I got into I as I got into conversations, it appeared to me that I had gotten into a subject that had exposed some homophobia in
Yeah.
their leadership, and I can say that because it's the truth,
Yeah.
and so that made me. I was supposed to sign another 3-year contract with them, and it really was perfect timing because I said absolutely not. I'm not
Yeah.
signing. I can't be associated with your label, not just because you don't like my song, but because of
Yeah.
the reason behind it. I can't I can't join hands with someone that I know is actively against
Yeah.
who I am and what I stand for. So I
And
okay.
everything about anybody, this is how I judge the world. Everything, when they try to hide behind, we're for all people. Well, first of all, fuck you. So you're for Nazis. That's not going to work for me. Um, but, you know what I mean? But anything, I tell people this all the time. Any belief system that has to make another group of people less than, that's a wrong belief system, so get the fuck out. Any of it. That
Oh
should
God.
be how we measure everything. Just like you were talking earlier, the biggest thing I have against Trump is he has no empathy and cannot imagine what he's putting other people through. The whole point of life is to say, I'm going to put myself in your shoes and try to
Oh
understand.
no.
And so
No,
you
he's
had to stand up and say, fuck this shit. But in the end, like any difficult decision, I think we end up where we're supposed to be. You ended up with a new label.
I did, and it really did fall very well into play. I'm uh, whatever the case may be, karma, life,
Right.
whatever. Um, I was with the label, still with them, and but I had been heard by somebody that was a representative for Universal Music Group and Virgin Records,
Right.
and they wanted my stuff. They said, "Well, let's take a look. Are you with anybody?" And I could say, "No, I'm not." You know.
Right.
Um, so they they listened to my stuff and they're like, "Yeah, you're ready to go,
Yeah.
and we would like to sign you." And so um, I guess I have kind of an umbrella with them, but they handle all the Universal now yeah, handles all my music, the distribution, publicity, everything. So so
Amazing.
I went from this little itty bitty label, and I was grateful for it. I'm still not, I'm not someone that says, I wasn't great. Once again, every place is a stepping stone, but
Yeah. Have
being
you
where,
found your moment where you realize, okay, well, this is done now?
and I'm glad,
Yeah.
I'm glad I was in a spot where I had to make a choice between staying where I was and quote being, because I had no guarantee.
Right.
But I like I told the CEO when we talked, I don't give a shit about
Yeah.
being on a label. I'm not on a label to say that I'm on a label. I'm on a
Yeah.
label because I want to be part of something that is going to promote
Yeah.
me and my vision and everything. And I would hope that if I'm writing something that is designed to lift people up, you would be the first person to be excited about it. I'm not
Right.
saying you
Yeah.
have to agree with being gay,
Right.
but you
Yeah.
should agree with a message of nobody deserves to be put in a corner or
Yeah.
told to sit down. And
Right.
that's to
Yes.
me was like, I was so glad that that I had the care. I know that sounds terrible. That I had the character to say, I don't care if I go any further
Yes.
as a recording
Yes.
artist. I have to
Exactly.
stick to the values that are important to me.
Right. And I don't think there's anything wrong with owning that you had that strength because it's not everybody does, but it's so important. It happens to be where your priorities lie.
Yeah.
Now, as we wind down here, but I want people to be able, if they're not going to be able to go out to some pride place, where can they find I
Okay.
Rise by Michael
I
Cagle?
Rise came out on May 9th. It's on all the
Yeah.
streaming platforms.
Nice.
You can get it on Apple Music, Amazon, anywhere.
Spotify. Yeah.
Spotify, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited because I've got a new single that drops Tuesday called
Yeah.
Just Live, Just Breathe. And then
Nice.
a week later, because the label's like, we need to really get you some exposure, Where I'm Meant to
Right.
Be, which is the title cut from my releases on the 24th. And that's like a fun summer song, roll down your
Yeah.
windows or and just so I've got a lot of stuff that's coming out, but I Rise, I really, really think I wish there was a way for everybody in our community and everyone that feels marginalized. And I
Yeah.
mean, and not just, the gay community, everyone that feels
Right.
marginalized. I wish they could
Yeah.
hear that song. Not because I think I'm
Yeah.
great, but because I think it's something that would resonate with
Right.
them. And it's
Get
something
it to
that,
the DJs. They will play it everywhere. Get it to
where?
the people in the clubs, the DJs in the clubs. Is that how the cool kids say it? I don't know. But the DJs, the ones that are in the cool clubs, like when I go to Palm Springs or when I go to LA, get them in their hands and it'll take on a life of its own.
I should do a
That's
dance
just,
mix. I should
yes,
do
you
a dance
should.
mix.
Yes, you should. Do it.
Arise!
Yes, I think that'd be amazing. Give it a little disco beat.
Arise!
Do you have a website people can go to and just find out
Yes.
everything?
It's www.michaelcageonline.com
Okay.
or www.balladbelter.com.
And you are a ballad belter. I will, really quick before I close, I will say one of my favorite stories is when Barbara Streisand was like 19 and she was on Judy Garland's show and she was singing, and out comes Ethel Merman and says to her, "You're the new belter." And I'm like, that's a dream. It's my dream to be that. So this is what we got. So everybody who celebrates belters, because we are few and far between, but
We
worth
are
it
here.
all through it. Yes,
Yeah.
we are here. So go see michaelcagelonline.com. Go to anywhere you can get music. He has a whole channel on Spotify, so that's what I have at
Oh
work.
yeah.
Just go find it. And most importantly, like I tell you all the time, find your indie artists and support them, because we
Yes.
all need your support,
Yes.
especially now more than ever. No more cookie cutters. Be who you are, like we talked about earlier, and celebrate those who are doing the work. So, Michael, thank you so much for
Thank you
spending
for
time with
inviting
us.
me.
This is
Hi, everybody.
amazing. And remember, you guys are going to have a great time. Follow us all the time, thequeercentric.com, and on all the apps that we are on. So go to that. And remember, there we are right there.
And I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out.